But that sets up the thing, and then we go right from the coup de Bucks Paulette magic act. We then go into Arthur Godfrey. Arthur Godfrey was one of the most famous entertainers in America in the middle of the 20th century, both on radio and television. I mean, he made millions. He was beloved, and we get we get these scenes that aren't really that long of him just monologuing about who he is, and it's almost like they're culled from a one-man show about himself. So he does this monologue about himself, and then we get back and forth between the monologue and uh, between the scenes at the funeral parlors. And Danny Wagner ends up showing up at the funeral parlors that of these various people, and the only one that ends up seeing him is Denny, the brother, the one surviving family of the Montuna family, member of the Montuna family.
Yeah, and he interacts only with Denny, I suppose, doesn't he?
I believe.
And he also interacts with Godfrey at the end.
Yeah, at the end, all the men are interacting. Kuda Bucks, his assistant, Danny, Godfrey, Denny. And speaking of, I just mentioned, uh, just to talk how it is. If you look at the ending of the play, that's a direct steal from Waiting for Godot, but mine's a much better play.
It's a direct steal, the entirety of the ending?
The last 2 or 3 lines, well, then let's go. Yes, let's go. Well, it's not a direct steal. It's a paraphrase. And then it ends. The lights fade before they can move. But again, this I don't know. I don't think this is one of the few plays. I don't think I use a poem in here. No, I use some clips from a newspaper, but I don't think I use a poem in here. No, I don't. So
but Denny is afflicted
with
first sister dying, then his wife, then Paulette. But we never see. Do we see Paulette's death?
No, it's the brother. His brother dies, then his wife, then his sister. We only hear about what happens at the funeral parlors, and he's there are some wraithic characters that he's interacting with, just like in our town, but they go off and whatnot, and there are, again, since they're all sort of the funerals here, they are plays off of each other, reworks, adumbrations.
Did you initially start off with the idea of Arthur Godfrey sort of monologuing in these one-man shows to himself, and then tie them in together with this whole meta idea that perhaps the play is within his own mind, or within a dream, isn't it? That he dreams about these people?
That's an interesting interpretation. I had nothing about that. It's interesting that you would interpret it that way. But I mean, it's probably a plausible interpretation. I'll see what Chin or some other people might say about that. Again, it's one of these things. Who is the play about, and what is the title? And then if you look at, I not only have the title, but
did you ever see Saint Elsewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that famous ending where the Down syndrome child is has the snow globe in his hand. He puts it on the mantle, and we zoom up, and then we see the Saint Elsewhere hospital there. That's sort of what it reminded me of, in a sense, that there's the snow globe of Arthur Godfrey, this world that's within him, and then but the ending may be a kibosh upon that interpretation, in that now he's out there with the three of them interacting together, and it could have just been a red herring. Then you have this sort of absurdist ending where they're going to a place that we don't know where they're going to.
Well, one of the things that's interesting, if you look, and this is one of these things where I sort of reserve the right to not explain everything, and the ending is one of the more poetic endings. Not only, do I paraphrase Godot, but there's the ending where Kuda Bucks comes back with his assistant, and this time he doesn't put the dough and the gauze and whatnot on his face, and his assistant leads him in front of Godfrey and Danny Wagner, and he looks at him and says, "I see Danny Wagner, I see Denny Montuna, I see Arthur Godfrey," and he acts as if this act of seeing is some kind of magic act, even though he's just looking at them. And that gets to back to the Strawberry Fields title and quote about what is reality and what is seeing really about. I mean, the quote here, the epigraph: "No one I think is in my tree. I mean, it must be high or low. That is, you can't, tune in, but it's all right. That is, I think it's not too bad." So this gets that references the famous 1960s quote about turning off, tuning in, dropping out, whatever it was. Uh, uh, what is reality, and how do we tune into it? And why is this mediocre illusionist Kuda Bucks? Why is he goes from being offended in the first scene with Paulette, that Paulette is exposing his trick, seemingly. He's offended. To the end, he's dropped all pretense that he's doing anything magical. He's just looking at people and pretending. And presumably the crowd is, the stagehands appear and hold up applause signs, and applause is given. So we get this bizarre ending where the magician isn't doing anything magical. He's not even having the pretense of doing magic, and yet he's wanting the applause.